Jai Hind children, welcome to my YouTube channel SOS Study Point. Student, today I am here with a very new topic of your Flamingo book of class 12th. This is the first poem of your syllabus, My Mother at 66. This poem is written by an Indian poetess, Kamala Das. So let us see what is the theme, summary and some of the other literary devices of this poem. Now, as you know, before study the poem, we should know something about the writer. So here some of the facts related with the life of Kamala Das. First thing, Kamala Suraiya. Her name is Kamala Das actually, but she is very popular with the name of Kamala Suraiya. Was born on 31st March 1934 and death is on 31st May 2009. Kamala Suraiya, popularly known by her one-time pen name Madhavi Kutti and married name Kamala Das, was an English Indian poetess, as well as a leading Malayalam author from Kerala, India. Her popularity in Kerala is based chiefly on her short stories and autobiography, while her ovary in English, written under the name Kamala Das, is noted for the poems and explicit autobiography. She was also a widely read columnist and wrote on diverse topics including women's issues, child care, politics, among others. Her open and honest treatment of female sexuality, free from any sense of guilt, infused her writing with power, and she got hope after freedom, but also marked her as an iconoclast in her generation. On 31st May 2009, on the age of 75, she died at a hospital in Pune. So this was some facts related with the life of Kamala Das. Now about career. Let us see what was her career. You know, Kamala Das' first book was Summer in Calcutta was a promising start. She wrote chiefly of love, its betrayal and the consequent anguish. Now, next point is, at the age of 42, she published her autobiography, My Story. You know, My Story is the autobiography of Kamala Das, which was later translated into many foreign languages. Kamala Das wrote on a diverse range of topics, often disparate, from the story of a poor old servant about the sexual disposition of upper middle class women living near a metropolitan city or in the middle of ghetto. Now student, you can see here on your screen the poem My Mother at 66. So this poem is just starting with the line, driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, doors open mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she thought away and looked out soon. But that thought away and looked out at young trees sprinting. The merry children is piling out of their homes, but after the airport's security check standing a few yards away, I looked again at her van, pale as a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar as my childhood's fear. But all I said was, "See you soon, Amma." All I did was a smile and a smile and a smile. Now this is the poem of this is the lines of the poem. Now let us see a short clip this is the short clip of this poem. So let's watch and try to understand the background of this story and some plots, I think the scene of this story.
My Mother at 66 by Kamala Das. In the poem, the poet describes her thoughts and emotions while traveling to the airport from her parents' house in Kochi. The poet is accompanied by her 66-year-old mother. On the way to the airport, she looks at her mother who is dozing beside her in the car. The poet describes her mother's face as colorless, just like the face of a corpse. She realizes that her mother is now quite old and the thought pains her. She tries to avoid these painful thoughts and turn her attention to outside. In contrast to the pale and corpse-like appearance of her mother sleeping inside, she observed the healthy young trees on the roadside which seem to be running backward as the car moves ahead. She also sees married children running out of their homes to play. The poet focuses on them in an effort to avoid thinking about her frail mother. After they reach the airport and the poet completes her security check, she turns around and looks at her mother again. The poet's mother looks frail, pale, and quite old and reminds the poet of the moon as it appears in late winter. The poet is reminded of her childhood fear, the anxiety of losing or being separated from her mother. The poet is afraid that she might never see her mother again alive, but she doesn't let it show. As she bids farewell to her mother, she only smile, and smile.
So now, I hope on the basis of this short clip, you can understand the plot, I mean to say theme of this poem. But it is here the theme, My Mother at 66. Now, I'm just providing you this theme. Aging is an important phase of human life, Aging is an important phase of human life. A person enters his childhood. Experiences youth when he is full of energy and dreams to have the luxury of life. Finally, he approaches his old age and encounters death. The relationship between people becomes stronger in every aspect of life, and they can't bear separation due to aging. In this poem, the poet relates a personal experience. She brings out a common paradox of human relationships and portrays a sensational separation of a mother and a daughter. She has been able to capture almost all the emotions which a daughter is filled with on bidding farewell to her beloved mother. Sometimes we do feel deep sympathy for someone, but we fail to express it in a proper manner. Yes, so according to the poetess Kamala Das, actually Kamala Das just want to show her sympathy and emotions, but she was unable to express her feeling emotions in a proper manner. Now, actually this is the summary. Let's see. One last Friday morning, the poetess Kamala Das was driving from her parents' home to the Cochin airport. Her mother was sitting beside her in a car. She suddenly had a look at her mother. She found that her mother was dozing with her open mouth. Her face was as pale as that of a corpse. The poet painfully realized that her mother is not going to live long. This painful thought haunted her, but soon she tried to put it off by looking out of the car window. She saw the young trees running past them. She looked at the merry children coming out of their homes. As she saw life and vitality in the outside world, the painful thought passed away from her mind. So this scene was just watched by the poetess while driving the car. After reaching the airport, After reaching the airport, she went through the security check. Her mother was standing outside a few yards away. After the security check, she looked at her mother again. Her face was pale, white, like a late winter's moon. She felt the old familiar ache of childhood in her heart, which is usually felt by a child due to the fear of separation from his or her mother. But she contained herself and kept on smiling in order to conceal her emotions. She spoke no word to her mother. All that she said was, "See you soon, Amma," and bid goodbye to her mother with a hope to see her again. So now this was the summary, but let us see the detailed explanation of this poem. Now, let us see the explanation with line by line. So this is the very first line of this poem. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning. Here, Kamala Das just want to tell us that what was happening that morning on Friday when she was just coming while driving from her parents' home. First thing, Kamala Das had gone to her parents' house. Now, second thing, she is now going to Cochin airport from where she had to board an airplane for her journey back home. So here, while driving from her parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, she was just telling this thing. And this was the scene on that morning. I saw my mother beside me, toes open-mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked. Now your Kamala Das just want to tell you that her mother was just sitting beside her seat, dozing with open mouth. Her face was ashen like that of a corpse. It means her face was just looking like a dead body. And she just realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, because she was just thinking that her mother has been old, but now she was unable to help her. So with the help of this line, poetess want to tell you that the poet described her mother as old and pale. She looked almost like a corpse. Her face was colorless and seemed to have lost the fervor of life. Now, the next line is, and looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spelling out of their homes. Now, with the help of this line, poetess want to tell you that to drive away the pain and agony, Kamala Das looked out of the window. Means while feeling very sadness, while feeling very pain in her heart, that is why she just looked out from the window of the car. Then she looked that there was some trees which was just sprinting back, and merry children was spiraling out of their homes. It means trees symbolizes life and growth, and children are symbolizes of youth and vitality, vigor, life and growth. That is why she was just thinking about this. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, now at the airport, when she reached there, she just stood there and thinking that at the airport they had to undergo a security check. This was the thing which will be happen there. After that, the poet stood few yards away and looked at her mother again. Now, poetess Kamala Das just looked again her mother. I looked again at her wan, pale as a late winter's moon. Now, with the help of this line, poetess want to tell us that she looked again her mother. Face, she was very wan, pale as a late winter's moon. Her face was just looking like a pale as a late winter's moon. It means poetess' mother was aged and hence looked pale and colorless, like a late winter's moon. It means faded moon. It means the life of the person is going to be end. It means the morning is just coming. That is why the moon color is faded. So winter's moon lacks luster and brightness. Similarly, mother's face has lost radiance and is now misted by age. The winter's moon that appears at the end of the year also symbolizes the ebbing state of mother's life. And feel that old familiar ash my childhood fear. So with the help of this line, the poetess want to tell us that familiar ash refers to the ash of helplessness. Now here poetess Kamala Das is helpless. So this is showing here helplessness. The pain of separation. She has just pain. Her mother just have a pain, but both of them can't explain that. The pain of separation that arises at the thought of the mother's death. She was also sad because her mother was in her old age, that is why she will be dead at any time. Childhood fear refers to the fear of losing her mother. Now that is why here childhood fear, it means this is correct. This is the fear of losing her mother's, getting separated from her, or that death would consume her mother. So this is the means of this line. And now this is the very last line of this poem. But all I said was, see you soon, Amma. And I did was smile and smile and smile. So with the help of this line, the poetess just told here, Kamala Das bids a formal adieu to her mother with the hope of seeing her soon. It means she was just departed with her mother with the hope of that she will just meet with her mother soon. She smiles only to hide her anxiety and fears of unknown. She also wants to bid a cheerful farewell to her mother before she boards the flight. The poetess tries to put up a brave front in order to hide her true feelings of pain at seeing her old and weak mother. Now, at last, her smile also reflects her optimism. So now here she was smiling and smiling and again smiling. That is why showing here the optimism of Kamala Das. Now here. So with the help of this line, we can understand the theme of this story and also the summary of the poem. Now I'm just here with some of the slide with something about the most used figure of speech in the poem. So student, this is very helpful for you because in this slide you can see the figure of speech which is used in the poem and it can be asked in your examination. A simile is a figure of speech that draws a comparison between two different things, especially a phrase containing the word like or as. Just like sleeping like a dog. My love is like a red rose, idle as a painted ship upon a painted ocean. Example from the poem. Which line is just showing here in the poem? Simile like that of a corpse, as a late winter's moon. So here in this poem you can see like and as. These two words is used in that line, that is called simile. Repetition. It is the repeated occurrences of a word in this stanza line. Smile and smile and smile. This is showing here the repetition. This line, smile and smile and smile. This is showing here repetition. Contrast Her face like that of a corpse, trees sprinting, the merry children playing, etc. Old age oblique youth. This is contrast. I mean to the contrasting. Now, appraisal of the title. What is the significance of the title? This is the very most important question. My mother at 66 is an excellent example of showing an ever unfailing relationship between a daughter and her mother. Nostalgia is smeared in. Separation appears to be the default setting of the poem. The title scrutinize where every mother lumbers towards the age 66 with care or without care. But this very mother gets to the same age through the growing eyes of her daughter. The number 66 also points out to the beginning of double quotation marks. It seems Kamala Das indicates the estrangement has just begun, and it's absolutely way after to meet the end. It also sounds a little ambiguous since that daughter, for the first time, notices her mother has stepped into the wrong box of 66. In some hermetic systems, 6 means beauty, and the speaker's mother appears more beautiful. 6 plus 6, 12, the number of sign in the zodiac, and so many represents the totality of creation. So 66 signifies a mother is the symbol of the totality of creation. So this was the appraisal of the title. Thank you. Have a nice day for watching this video, and I hope all of you are well in this COVID-19 pandemic situation. And student, be safe, stay home and also study at home. But one thing more I would like to tell you that don't forget to subscribe my channel and like and comment. So Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.